Hello, everybody. Welcome. I am happy to be here tonight. Excited to chat with everybody. I just have to pull the chat back up so I can see it because I'm not currently seeing it. There it is. So I see my new friend Kathy, and I'm sure Steve is with you because a 400 is not that big. Scott Hausman, M. It's Maria. Thank you, Maria, for saying who it is, because I always forget who M is until I see your name. And Julia. I think we may have others here, hopefully. If you're here, let me know in the chat so I know who's all here. I can pick on you. There's my friends, Liz and Frank Cinco. Hey, guys. How's life north of the border? So it's been a while since I've done a live stream, especially a public live stream, and I thought it was a good chance to catch up, both with what's going on with you, what's going on with me, what's going on in the nuCamp universe, and just all things tab and camping. So tonight I don't have anything preset. I don't have any slides. I don't have any training or anything like that. It's just an open Q&A and conversation. So start letting me know in the chat what you're interested in talking about tonight. And just so you know, I'm going to be looking, the camera's straight ahead of me, but my screen's down here, so I'm going to be going back and forth. And if I look at the screen too much, tell me. So there's Chris from Northeast Ohio, Dawn, Maureen from New Hampshire, and Gail also have joined us. Awesome. So I'm curious, while other people are still joining, are you planning on going to see the Haven when it comes to a dealer near you? Liz and Frank, I know the answer is yes to you. Dawn, I know you can't make it. Scott Hausman, are you going to go see the Haven? Is that something you're interested in? Liz and Frank, I know you are going to see it, but I think your affections are set in another direction currently. Yeah, Kathy, there's still some beautiful fall color here where I am in this sort of somewhat remote area. I'm actually near a town that has a grocery store, so that's a bonus to have a little civilization. I'm going to be heading back east soon, so I'm sad to see the colors go and depart from the mountains. Oh, Gail can't see it. That's a bummer. Yeah, Frank, I was pretty happy with the changes I saw in the video, so I can't wait to see it in person either. Liz and Frank and Dawn and several other of us had a chance to preview it and share feedback with nuCamp during uCamp. And so when the video came live, I was really happy with some of the changes I'd seen. Julia can't make it. She'll be away when the dealer has it. And she's not interested. Got it. Timing doesn't work for Scott. Well, I'm sure it'll be on dealer lots for sale before too long, so we'll all get a chance to see it when we're near a dealer. There's Signe. How are you, Signe? I miss Signe. I haven't seen Signe since uCamp. I haven't seen, actually, anybody on this chat, I think, except for Kathy since uCamp. Maria's in Sugar Creek and saw the Haven from outside, and we'll look inside. Oh, awesome. Very cool. Where are you going to eat while you're there? That's a question everybody wants to know. Liz is asking, with your full-time package, have you had any problems charging below 36? My biggest worry about the batteries in the trailer, under the trailer 360. Liz, I have not. And I don't know that everybody is aware of this, but the Battleborn batteries all come with a battery heater. So if it's going to be below freezing, I just flip on the battery heater and haven't had any problems yet. And I have turned it on one day here since I've been out west. I've turned it on because daytime temperatures, when I wanted to start yielding from solar, were still below freezing, and it worked without a problem. Hi, Ruth. Welcome. Hi, Susie. Susie is asking question about the refrigerator options for my 320 CS. You're going to have to give me a little more on that one, Susie. What are your refrigerator options on the CS S320? I believe it comes, and Liz and Frank might know a little more about this than me, but I believe it only comes with a DC fridge, 12-volt fridge, and there really aren't any other options. You can't put a 3-way fridge there because there's no way to vent it properly for propane. Hello, Tawana from Yellowknife. Wow, that is a long way away. Scott wants to know if I'll be at Mount Gilead, and the answer is yes. That is the plan. God willing, I will be at Mount Gilead. We're going to be having a mini nuCamp at Platinum RV. 8 of your buddies there. That is so cool, Liz. That's a pretty good collection. You're going to eat at Rebecca's Bistro in Walnut Creek. Tomato basil soup. I really like that. From what I understand, Rebecca is unwell. She has been battling cancer. So let's just all keep her in our thoughts and prayers if you've been to Rebecca's. Your refrigerator has been overheating. I would take it to either a dealer or preferably the nuCamp Service Center for repair if that's feasible for you. Hi, Jeff. Welcome. You're at a Harvest Host. That's awesome. Hi, Dennis. Yep. No, Liz is confirming no room for a deeper fridge or a propane fridge. Yes, that would be great, Juana. We'll get to your questions as we get to everybody else's. So keep the questions and comments coming in the chat. Is anybody else camping? I see Jeff is camping. I know Kathy and Steve are camping. And you're hearing me talking about Kathy and Steve. I met Kathy and Steve last weekend when I pulled into a campground and I saw 400 and they were the camp hosts. And Kathy was so friendly. I had a great time chatting with them all weekend long. I think I was ready for some civilization. Well, some conversation, maybe, not civilization. This campground is it's pretty primitive and it's not easy to get to, not for the faint of heart, shall we say it. Tawana says, I've kept the camper plugged in for the entire summer. Was that necessary? I believe you have a new 360, so correct me if I'm wrong, Tawana. And I hope it's probably Tana. I'm probably saying your name wrong. I'm sorry about that. The battery disconnect switch should be the only thing you need to do, unless you want to keep things in your fridge and cool. If you're just keeping the camper in storage and you're not camping in it and there's no reason to have the fridge on, go ahead and turn the camper off, the battery disconnect switch off, and that lithium battery will hold its charge. Does a great job. So no, you do not need to keep it plugged in. Hello from Jacksonville, Florida. Oh, you'll have to let us know if you do that, Emily. You're in the Smokies, but not camping. Yes, and happy anniversary to you and Mrs. Hausman. That's awesome that you guys got away for an anniversary trip. Susie's driving home from 10 days in Pennsylvania state parks. That's awesome. Did you make it to Ricketts Glen by any chance? That's such a pretty park. Julia's at Cape, is it Henlopen? Henlopen. I don't know how you say that. On my first stop of a 3-week trip ending in Mount Gilead. That's awesome. Ruth says, I was in Ludington, Michigan, on the shores of Lake Michigan last week, but the sand and sunsets were beautiful. Oh, I bet. Seems like the Great Lakes have amazing sunsets. Tawana, if you have a Tab 360, you do have a battery disconnect switch. It is a red switch, and it is on the driver's side bench toward the front of the camper. Tana. Oh, you have a 320. What year is your 320, Tana? as long as it's a newer 320 since about 2016, 2017, you should have a battery disconnect switch, and it might be in the front tub. Jen could give us advice on good dealers. I know some of the good dealers. I have a few that I've heard great things about. I've only personally purchased from one or two, but I have a lot of friends who've purchased from different dealers. And sometimes friends go to the same dealer and have different experiences. You have a 2012 320. Will be parked on unleveled ground. Okay, there are a couple things about parking your camper on unleveled ground. You'll want to level the camper with some type of leveler, either a ball leveler, the Lego blocks, or an Anderson leveler, because if you have a three-way fridge, that ammonia can get displaced if it's unlevel, especially for long periods of time. And once that's been displaced, it's going to be very difficult to get that to work again. You're correct. You do not have a battery disconnect in a 2012 tab 320. So you could either pull the fuse in the battery and that would stop it, or you could actually, probably, since you live in Yellowknife and you have a lead acid battery, I'm assuming you haven't replaced the battery, you'll want to remove the battery from the camper and put it on a trickle charger over the winter. Lead acid batteries do not do well in the cold, and they do not hold their charges. And when they become depleted, they become worthless. Does anyone know where the bleeder valve might be on a 2021 Tab 320 CS? I'm assuming you mean for your Alde, Ruth. I believe, from what I understand, the Alde in our tabs are self-bleeding, so you shouldn't need to bleed them. Somebody else could jump in. I know Liz and Frank have had Alde. Dawn, Julia, you might have some ideas. Scott, even Gail might know. Trying to think, anybody else on the call. If you know, let me know, but I think they're self-bleeding. Oh, Emily, you bought your first camper from Camping World. That would not have been on my list, but because they're not a tab dealer, in fairness, they bought it as a trade-in, probably from a customer, so they don't know that much about tabs. Love the Springs, no Camping World. Ohio Pile. Ooh, Ohio Pile and Raccoon Creek State Park. Very nice parks. Okay, camper is leveled itself. Yeah, the other thing you can do if you don't have anything under the tires is move the camper every few weeks. Ooh, Gail's on her way to a covered bridge festival. That sounds awesome. There's the answer, Ruth. Liz says your bleeder valve in a 2021 320 CS is under the driver's side bench in front of the closet, close to the wet bath door. Ruth is saying, I heard the Anderson levelers level side to side, not front to back. Well, that's because you level front to back with your tongue jack. You don't need to. Actually, the same would be true of the Lego levelers unless you put them on both sides. But really, I only level side to side with a leveler and then use the trailer jack to level front to back. Yeah, I wondered about the snow, Tana. You may want to check around with some Canadian friends to see what they do to keep the tires from flattening. Might be, I don't know if people put plywood underneath or like 2x4s. Liz and Frank might have some ideas because their camper stays in storage throughout the winter. And they're also in a very snowbound type area. All right, looks like I've caught up with the comments. You guys are doing great. What other questions do you guys have tonight? Is it really necessary to cover the acrylic windows with something before putting the cover on? Some people have used plastic wrap. Could I also use a large garbage bag? Not everybody puts something on the windows before they cover it. Maureen says, I'm hoping to store in a storage unit if I can find one with a garage door high enough. Oh, that would be great. That would be babying your tab for sure. There's Stephen. How you doing, Stephen? You cover our tires with tires to sun rot. Susie wants to know how the 360 is. The 360 is awesome. I have so enjoyed camping in this camper. This is the second summer in a row, summer/fall, where I've had the chance to do that. And it has been simply wonderful. I can't tell you enough. Kathy and I were just talking about how much we love the Alde when we're boondocking because it's so efficient, so quiet, and very toasty. Maria, did you get rid of the 320 and now in the 360? Yes. I sold my 320 to a very nice couple, Scott and Kathy, in, I believe it was late June. And then I picked up my new 360 behind me, Mini Pearl, in late July. Tana, I don't know if you saw, Ruth says she uses pool noodles on a rope. One noodle, just lost my place. One noodle over each window. Then she covers it up. Can you notice a difference in towing? I can a little bit. It is, I can feel it a little more, especially going over the mountain passes, but it's the tow vehicle I have is still more than adequate for it. And, but it is a little heavier. I do notice that, especially going down a mountain. I can feel it more than I could feel the 320. Lynn uses bubble wrap and painter's tape. That's interesting. What is the weight of the trailer you have now? I'm not going to remember very well off the top of my head the exact number, but the 360 is somewhere between 26 and 2,700 pounds, if my memory serves me correctly. Haven't had to use the heat yet, but have done a lot of dry camping. Is there a battery draw when using the heat? There is a little battery draw. It's not significant, but there is a little battery draw. More importantly, you need to have a little battery capacity for the Alde to even turn on or run. Hello, Flower. What is the weight of 360 max? I'm not sure what you mean by max, but the weight of the 360 is, well, let me just pull it up on the nuCamp website so that I don't just keep guessing at what it is. Sorry, I did know before and I've just forgotten. It's hard to get old. I am looking at the 360 right now. And it tells me the 360 dry weight is 2605 and the tongue weight is 359. That's for the standard boondock. For the Black Canyon, it's the same. So I was pretty close, pretty spot on. You know, the Haven is not going to be for everybody. We who have our teardrops love our teardrops. They are adorable. And so a traditional travel trailer is not going to be for everybody. But for those people who are looking for more space and want the nuCamp quality, the Haven is going to be really a sweet spot. Betsy Moore, welcome. What was the main reason for upgrading your tab, Jen? I would say height is a big factor. Being able to stand in the camper and especially in the shower has been really nice, as well as the twin bed layout is perfect for all the remote work I do. Those would be the two biggest things, but I think the the thing I love the most about this camper are the windows on all four sizes with the front and rear stargazers. They are amazing. All right, Susie, you be safe. Is nuCamp still making the barefoot? Yes, nuCamp is still making the barefoot, but they never wanted to sell a ton of them. That was never a big strategy to flood the market with barefoots because it loses its value as a niche camper. So they are still making it. It's going to be more of an on demand or order model than it is where you'll be able to just show up and see one at a dealer lot. Hey, Todd, nice to see you. Oh, it's coming in December. I bet you are so excited. Did you order it at the Hershey RV show? I think you did. I think I remember seeing that. So Ton is asking, and I don't know who put the comment in about the garbage bag option for protecting windows. I've never done that. I don't typically, my camper isn't in storage long enough to cover. I'm camping with it throughout the winter, and our winters are so dreary. There's not a lot of risk of sun exposure in Pittsburgh. So I have a cover for the 320 and I used it one winter, but that was way back probably in 2014, 2015, somewhere in there. So somebody else might be able to chime in and help you with the cover. Yeah, the 360 CS is really a pretty camper. I love um, all the storage you get with it, plus that wood paneling in the back. It's definitely a trade-off. You'd still get the stargazer window up high. I like the lower stargazer window. I look out at all the time. It's one of my favorite things. But for people who like an outdoor kitchen or like the extra storage, it's a great model. Yeah. Todd, I'm sure some of us have some camping stuff we could put in your excess storage. I don't know about everybody else, but I sure have some things I don't use anymore. Tana, I'm curious in Yellowknife how you managed to find a 2012 Tab 320 and what kind of shape it was in when you bought it. Did you buy it from a private seller or was it from a dealer? And have you had a chance to have somebody go over it? I'm really curious. I know that nuCamp I think that was the first year nuCamp probably started selling Tab 320s. Todd, did you get a new tow vehicle? I feel like I remember you upgraded your tow vehicle and that was sort of one of the things you were waiting to do before you got a 360. So Maria is using a flannel sheet cut and using elastic to cover the windows before she puts it in storage to protect the windows. A 2025 Nissan Armada. You'll have to tell us how you like that vehicle. I know at least one friend interested in it. Yeah, I think you could probably get those tire covers at Canadian Tire, or is that what it's called, Canadian Tire? There's some Canadian auto parts store that sells more. It's like almost like your Harbor Freight. I forget what it's called. 8,500 pounds, that's pretty good capacity. Yes, Dawn is interested in Todd's towing experience. I've always liked Nissans, so I have a feeling you'll have a pretty good experience with it, Todd. Liz is saying Canadian Tire or maybe Princess Auto. And then there's always Amazon, right? I think I would be lost with camping supplies without Amazon. Even when I travel, I ordered some tank treatment from Amazon a couple weeks ago and got it delivered to a shipping place in town near where I was camping. Yes, Scott. You and my friend Doug both have pointed out that Nissan's financial situation is less than optimal right now. Dennis is saying he got tire covers at Princess Auto. Dennis, you and Carol just got done with a big trip. Everything go all right? It looked like it was a great time. Come to Yellowknife. Yellowknife is a bit of a drive. Well, if you have a sabbatical, you should come to nuCamp next year. That seems like the ideal situation, and you can meet hundreds of people with tabs. And Ohio's very pleasant in August. Sometimes, anyway. Well, be safe. Focus on your driving, Dennis. I'm curious on this call, how many of you are going to be at the Pennsylvania-Ohio meetup at Mount Gilead? I know Dawn is going to be there. Scott, I think you're going to be there. Julia's going to be there. Trying to think. Betsy, I think you'll be there. Lynn's going to be there. Signy's going to be there. It's going to be a great meetup. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. We'll have to hire the other Steve. Stephen, I wish you could make it to more, and I wish Katie could make it to some of these too. Oh, nice. I'm glad there's something closer to home for you, Todd. I hope that's a great meetup. You're from Cincinnati. Do you live in Cincinnati now, Emily? Because if you're not, please join our Ohio PA Tabs and Friends group. We do 3 or 4 meetups a year. Sometimes we get a little further south than Columbus. We try to do one in Pennsylvania per year. You keep saying that. We're starting to question that Katie really exists, Stephen. That's great, Todd. I'm glad you're going. Safe travels, Tana. So I'm trying to think if there's anything of note that's happened on this trip that would be interesting to you guys. I've had a lot of little faux pas. Spilled my Starbucks creamer that was caramel macchiato all over my fridge. So the camper smelled like a caramel macchiato candle for a week. Rocky got sick, if you didn't know, but thankfully, he's fine now. Antibiotic had him on the road to recovery very quickly. Of course, I met Steve and Kathy up at the campground last weekend. I don't think I missed anything else. It's been a pretty quiet trip. I've worked a lot on this trip. So between my day job and then taking pictures for nuCamp, it's been a busy trip for me. Not a lot of recreational time. She's real but not retired yet. I can identify with that. Yes, there is a Southeast group, Emily. Actually, Rocky's just chilling out here. You can't see him. He's off camera because he's in front of me, but he's just hanging out. What are the temperatures where you were at? I'm guessing we're in the 60s at the moment, maybe even high 50s. Probably down around freezing at night, most nights. I can't leave a water hose, fresh water hose connected, or else it will freeze if I happen to be at a campground that has a water connection. So I'm just filling up my freshwater tank at this point and using that. Thanks, Maria. It is a mantis behind me. Did I take a look at it? No more than what you just did right there. I haven't met them and didn't take a look at it. It looks flatter on the camera. I don't know if that's a camera angle, but they are interesting campers. I'm curious with Kathy, now that you're back in a somewhat civilized area after being remote and boondocking for 2 months at least. No, since July. 3 months at least. What that adjustment period is like for you, having full hookups and being close to other campers and all the noise. I know it's always a bit of an adjustment from a noise perspective when I go back home and I'm in the city compared to being out in nature where it's so quiet. Even at this campground, which is a commercial campground, at night there's really no traffic and all I can hear is the river flowing. It's really been pleasant. Well, it looks like the questions are winding down. Any other questions before we call it a night? Any other comments? Anything else anybody wants to talk about or curious ask other campers about? Curious if you use a tire monitoring system. I do. I think it's called TyMate, TYEMATE. That might not be right, but it's less than $100 on Amazon. The little display is solar, so I don't even have to plug it in. It sits on my dashboard and seems to work okay. Have you been to Tremont State Park in New York State? We had our end of year school music picnic there every year growing up, Stephen. So I've been there many times. It's such a pretty park, and it doesn't get as much airtime as Watkins Glen or Tunkhannock Falls or other state parks in the area, but it is a really nice state park. I have not camped there, though. Oh, there's Mamie. 32 degrees tonight, probably not in trouble, Mamie. It's not going to, 32 is right at freezing. So that doesn't mean that what's in your tanks will get to 32 or below 32. So I think you'll be all right. Did nuCamp wire your portable solar controller? Yes, they did. I ordered it on Amazon and brought it to them, and they installed it. I'm just seeing Rocky's about to knock over the camera, so hang on, everybody. I've got to go unwind him. Hold on, buddy. Sorry about that. Not sure why I had earbuds in. It occurred to me there's nobody else talking, so I don't need to put the earphones back in. So let me see what I missed here. Oh, I was answering Frank about the solar controller. Yes, nuCamp installed a Victron controller that I purchased and brought to them so that when I plug into the portable port, it's all wired and ready to go. And I chose Victron because it will continue to network with the other Victron devices like the battery monitor and other solar controller. And it optimizes charging when you have them networked together. Lynn, the gray water tank release handle are just a few dollars, and you can get those at any camping supply store, RV supply store. I would just replace it. Oh, cool, Stephen. You'll have to tell me how the campground is. I thought that would be a great place to camp. I love that park. How much work is required to monitor the battery when dry camping? Well, that's sort of one of those depends questions. If you use a lot of power, the more you use the power, the more you have to monitor it. The smaller your battery capacity, the more you have to monitor it. So if you have like I have the lithium upgrade package, and I can be a little less judicious with my power usage and also monitor it a little less. Several problems with full hookups. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I think we're going to be at the same campground tomorrow night, so you have to tell me all about it. Oh, outside outlets didn't work. Could be mice, could be, well, yeah, where you were, it could be mice. It also could be water. You thought Rocky was trained not to do that. He's trained, well, he's not used to being on leash. So he got himself all, the leash was going through the legs of the tripod, and I was pretty sure any moment he was going to run at something and knock the whole setup over. Have you ever used the AC boondocking, and for how long? I have for not similar, but not exactly boondocking. When I'm traveling from place to place, if I've had to stop for a conference call, I have turned on the AC for up to an hour, hour and a half. You're probably not going to get more than 2 to 4 hours of using the AC, and that's with a 270 amp hour battery. It uses quite a bit of power. So it's not a long-term solution, but it can work for a short-term solution. Scott is saying water wreaks havoc on the outside outlets. I've not had any problems with my outside outlets, but I have heard other people say that they have. So it's possible, especially if the seal broke down around that outside outlet, that could have caused some problems. And back to your question about AC and boondocking, it's not I wouldn't consider that a real viable solution yet, unless you want to add 2 or 3 batteries to your two or three more batteries. It just takes so long for the solar to recharge, and you're using the battery power at such a high rate because you also have to use the inverter. It just isn't the most effective way to power the AC. If you're going to boondock and need AC, I think a generator is still the way to go. I don't do that. If it's going to be hot enough that I want to use the AC, I'm going to go to a campground with electric. And that's primarily because I don't want to carry one more thing. Yeah, that's a good point, Kathy, is you do have to check it more on cloudy days. I hit a few days of cloud cover and also had to use more power than normal. So I ended up going to a commercial campground for a couple days while the weather hung around cloudy, and that helped a little bit. especially this time of year. In the summer, you even on a cloudy day, you're going to do better with solar and you're going to recharge faster. But once you get into September and October, you really don't get the productivity from solar that you do in the summer. Oh, Mamie's going to go see the Haven. That's cool, Mamie. Tell Brinks I said hello. 320 ran perfectly for 3 weeks, Dennis says. 3 campgrounds in Ontario and the Adirondacks. Oh, that's awesome. That's really great. I'm glad to hear that, Dennis. You have been all over the place this year. I've enjoyed watching your travels on Facebook. Yes, Mamie, we'll be expecting a full report on the Haven. And I think Betsy's going to go see it, so Betsy can give us one at Mount Gilead too. Using the hot pot last weekend while boondocking, and it kept kicking the inverter off. Probably a loose wire. That could be. Yeah, because you have the multi-plus, right, Stephen? That should be more than enough for a hot pot. The hairdryer, well, I will tell you, the hairdryer gets the most stress when I use the inverter, and I can't use it on the highest speed. I have to use it on medium. Oh, Signy's going to see it tomorrow too. Very cool. Are you saying you might have some loose wires too, Stephen? Not just the camper? 200 amp hour Battleborn batteries this week. Yeah, well, the batteries, do you have an inverter, Maria? And if so, what is the wattage of your inverter? Because it's not the battery. The batteries provide the power, but you need an inverter to enable the AC power. Kept saying your battery was low. Oh, I bet it was more about the voltage than it was the battery. Even though it was saying capacity was low, I bet it was the voltage, not the capacity. No, Signy, not everybody needs 3 tabs, just you. Okay, so they're putting in the multi-plus. You should be good then. But you're not going to get a lot of AC out of that 200 amp hours of battery. Any problems with your battery? My guess is that you had the multi-plus set to inverter, and so when you're inverting it, you're using the battery at a much faster rate. Especially if you had the inverter on and the Alde set to electric, you're going to drain that battery really fast. Is the 3000 multi-plus a converter? It is not a converter. On the 360, they use it as a charger. It's a charger and an inverter, but it is not a converter. You still have a converter or a power center to do that conversion. Although I believe the multi-plus can be used as a converter. So I'm not sure how they're going to wire yours. You have a 320, if I remember right. Martiana, I'd be curious to see what your issue was. I'm guessing something was left on, like the inverter. That's usually the biggest culprit for a power drain, though. Yeah, you have a 320 with a solar on top. I'm not sure. Stephen Joseph might know if you have a multi-plus, if that replaces the converter. I know in the 360, when you have the multi-plus, you don't get a standard converter. You have a power center, which is a distribution for your fuses and your 110 power. Okay, so on the 320, it does both. Okay, just like the 360. Thanks, Todd. I forgot you had the 320 as well. I already have you in the 360 in my brain. I think it's because you were so interested in it last summer when I saw you. So I think it'll be great when you get yours because I think you're already there. Stephen, you only have the Multiplus. Okay, that's probably what they'll do then. I'm curious though on a retrofit if they will change that or if they'll keep the converter. I don't know what that looks like because I think both Stephen and Todd bought the 320 with the Multiplus. It's a good question when you go there though. I know you said you're going to eat at Rebecca's. My personal favorite to eat at in Sugar Creek, does anybody know? One more trip in the 320. I bet Betsy and Dawn know what my favorite place to eat at in Sugar Creek is. I guess the question might be, what's your favorite place to eat for which meal? Mexican on the golf course. That's right, Russell. Habaneros. I do love habaneros. It is so good. I do like the Park Street pizza too, Lynn, but habaneros is probably my favorite. I think the close third, though, or maybe even second, is Wall House Coffee. I do like. Yeah, Frank. I don't think Bags is all that exciting. I'm not like I'll eat at Bags. I think Bags is okay, but I don't think it's that much better than anything else compared to all the other food. Yeah, Park Street and Wall House are probably my tied for second, Betsy. I think I like habaneros better than Park Street. Don't tell Doug. But I felt like there was someplace else. Oh, the other place I've discovered recently is the Swiss Bulk Food Store. Not a restaurant, but it's amazing the things they have there. Boyd and Worthman in Berlin for the win. Huh, I have not eaten there. You agree about Bags, Dawn? Of course you do. Dawn and I have very similar tastes. Mamie, Park Street makes a good lunch too. I really like their flatbread pizza, or even better, their ice cream. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, for breakfast, there's always Amish country donuts. And then there are all the Amish places you can eat, like Dutch Valley Inn. Then there's Der Dutchman up in Walnut Creek. And I've never eaten at Mrs. Yoder's Kitchen. I don't know if anybody else has ever eaten at Mrs. Yoder's Kitchen. And then there's Rebecca's. I haven't eaten at Rebecca's. Who would know that this little rural place in Ohio would have so many great places to eat? Marvin sent you there. Huh. I'll have to keep that in mind. The Mexican is really good, Kathy. Yoder's is great. I'll have to keep that in mind, Russell. Amish food is pretty similar to it's not exactly, but it's similar to the type of food I had growing up, just meat and potatoes. Mrs. Yoder just died. Oh, that's sad. Jen likes anything that has chicken in it. I missed that before, Signe. And Signe really doesn't love chicken. So we do struggle when we go out to eat sometimes. Country food. Yep. That's the type of food I grew up with. Oh, it's where the Amish go to eat. Boyd and Worthman. Huh. I think part of it is on a busy day, especially a Saturday, Berlin is a really difficult place to get around from a traffic perspective. I've I've tried to go from to Berlin before, and traffic has been backed up half the way to Walnut Creek. And that's not an enjoyable traffic jam. I think I spent an hour in traffic one Saturday, and there was no accident. It was just wall to wall tourists. You guys, I'm glad I ate before we talked because I would be hungry had we not. I picked up a rotisserie turkey, or no, just like I don't know if it's rotisserie, a turkey breast, that's pre cooked with the rotisserie chickens at the grocery store last night. And I had that for dinner tonight with some Bob Evans mashed potatoes. It was delicious. Does anyone know how to use the HDMI connector to stream from my phone to the TV? What kind of phone do you have? I think that question's going to have a lot to do with that. Rebecca's has great tomato basil soup. I do like tomato basil soup. Oh, you bought it. You bought it. Oh, that's interesting. The Amish are on e-bikes. They don't care about traffic. Really good point, Scott. I think now I have an Android, and when I've used it with a cable, I believe I plugged it right into the Jensen Cube, and that worked well. Dutch Valley, yeah, Dutch Valley is pretty good. I think I like Dare Dutchman a little better though. Tech is not your talent. Julie, I have a client, and she'll say, that's not my love language. Tech may not be your love language. You replaced your TV with a smart TV. I have the nuCamp. The new trailers now come with smart TVs, except for the 320. That's an option, not a standard item. But I replaced my smart TV with a smart monitor. So I do like it because it's Samsung and it connects to all my other Samsung stuff. The Jensen Cube is the little stereo part. I'm trying to think on a Ruth, if you have an iPhone, I probably can't help you, but there are a lot of people here who can help you. On an Android or Samsung, there's something you pull down. I think it's like Smart View, and that is how I've used it before. It's on the phone. The Smart View is on a Samsung phone. Sounds like I should upgrade to a smart. I'm glad I have one. It depends on how much you use your camper, whether that's worth it. For me, it's been really helpful. That's a great point, Russell. You do have to change your input on the TV so that it's HDMI, and that might be where you're having problems, Ruth. So you can do that with the remote, selecting the input and going to the menu on the TV settings. And Signy just puts a Roku in her dumb TV, she said. No DVD or Blu-ray. I think they stopped doing that around with the 2021 Tab 320. I don't think any of the campers come with that. And truthfully, the DVD player that came in the Tab before that, the Jensen, used to eat up my DVDs, so I don't miss it at all. Maria's saying you might need to pull down the menu to screen mirroring with an iPhone. And Scott is an advocate also of the Roku. Before I had the smart TV, though, I was using a Chromecast, and I really liked that. So if you're not into the Roku, maybe you're more familiar with Chromecast, that's another good option. Fire TV, yes, that works as well. Well, my battery's starting to get low. The sun is starting to set, so I think it's probably time to wrap it up. But I've really enjoyed this. It's been really fun catching up with everybody. It's been too long. I'll try not to make it so long next time, but thank you for taking the time to join. All of you joining is what makes this fun. So thanks for spending a few minutes tonight. I hope it was enjoyable for you guys. And if you're not going to be at Mount Gilead, happy camping. And if you are, I can't wait to see you there. Good night, everybody.